Shawn Burkett. I'm the writer and director of both of those films. I'm not sure if what I just said was actually heard, so I'll say it one more again. My name is Shawn Burkett, and I am the writer and director of The Way of the Buffalo and Bludgeon. I'm here to answer any possible questions, most likely, depending on what they are. So, do we have any questions? Okay. Okay, we have one here from Mr. Skeeter Buster. What films have influenced me as a director? I would have to say that is a very hard question to answer. I've always been a big fan of very emotional feeling movies, and I feel that could be my downfall as far as achieving a movie that plays out like that. But um, the one movie that I can think of that like really just made me want to become a filmmaker was Hard Candy. For some reason, that movie just kind of changed everything for me. It was very simplistic, but at the same point in time, you're like, this is fucked up. So that's my definite, I would say, number one first film that inspired me to become a filmmaker. Um, Other than that, I've always been a big fan of horror. Um, if my grandpa only knew better, he would let me just go into the movie store when I was like 8 years old and literally pick anything I want. So I found the Sleepaway Camp movies at a very early age. So yeah, that's I would have to say general horror movies in general made me want to become a director or writer or get into filmmaking. Um, so yeah, I hope that helped. Um, we have one from Lynn O'Brien. It says, "Hi Sean, how do you fund your films?" Or actually, it says, "How did you fund your films? Did you use crowdsourcing at all?" No, unfortunately not. I have recently, well, I mean, I guess what do you mean by crowdsourcing? Because there's actually a company called crowdsourcing that you pay them like a one-time fee and they will guarantee that so many people visit your page. Um, no, we didn't. I didn't go that way. I kind of feel that is cheating, but at the same point in time, if, if you need people to see what you're doing, I guess that could be an asset. Um, Bludgeon, we attempted an Indiegogo um, very early on, before the script was uh, finished. Okay, yes, yes, Lane, Phil Bryan, we did indeed use an Indiegogo, um, but it didn't do well at all. I think uh, it hit $150, and I was attempting to get, I believe, at least 1,200. So we ended up making bludgeon buttons, and we had a card on them. That was a nice little package. And we would go to these horror conventions, and we would sell them for $5 a pop. And with each purchase, we would put your name at the end credits as a thank you. And that's pretty much how Bludgeon was funded, except for one producer, Haley Madison, who also plays Quinn in the film. Um, she threw in $300. Um, to stupid username 1234. What do you think your next film is going to be? As far as my personal next film or my company's next film, I will answer both of those questions. My company's next film, which my company is Concept Media, um, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm reading these as I'm talking. I'm obviously not a multitasker. Um, Concept Media's next film is going to be a sequel to the very first film we ever made, which was Midsummer Nightmares. And this one will be Midsummer Nightmares 2, Summer's End, which was the whole Midsummer, uh, we'll go with franchise, was written and directed by Ryan Stacy, who is my business partner in the company. We actually have an Indiegogo for that I am posting in the chat right now. We're actually doing very well. We are halfway to our needed goal, and we will be shooting that starting August 23rd. We've got some great people in that. A lot of people that go to conventions or go to conventions are going to notice these people like Kissy Duncan, the Nightmare Man, William Adams, or Bill Adams. Um, that's going to be a fun time. Um, as far as my next film, and it's funny because I just solidified it in my head tonight that I am going forth with this. But it's a movie called Don't Fuck in the Woods, and it's a creature feature. Um, there's obviously sex in the woods. So with that being said, um, it's gonna be a lot of fucking death in the woods. But on top of that, it's gonna be interactive. When I say interactive, it's gonna come to a point which I've been using this as an example. Imagine a naked girl running for her life through the woods. She's just running and running. All of a sudden, she looks up and stops. You're gonna think that there's a big fucking monster there or something. But then it goes from behind her, and up in the trees, we're gonna have lit two options. You can choose option A or option B. And one of those will either be a different path that the film can take, or a different death. Um, so yes, I'm extremely excited about this. I wish I had a link to an Indiegogo for it, but unfortunately, um, I don't yet. But I should within the next week or two, because I plan on shooting this October. Um, so yes, I'm missing questions. I'm passing them up. I got to ranking. Awesome. Um, the broadcaster. Any chance we could air Midsummer Nightmares on IHTV? Of course. I will send you that link tonight as soon as we were done with this. Um, Stupid username, thank you. I like the title Don't Fuck in the Woods as well. And it will be more of a comedy, but it will not fall short on blood at all or gore. I mean, there's parts that we have to where arms are getting ripped off and all kinds of crazy shit. All kinds of crazy shit. Um, I've heard about this. It's my party and I'll die if I want to. Dustin Mills actually just mentioned it to me tonight. Um, I'm new to filmmaking in general, so I don't want to overhype Don't Fuck in the Woods to be like something brand new or something. But as far as to me, it's brand new to me, and I'm very very excited about it. Um, but yes, that film is going to be to where you choose which option you want to take, and it'll be like a menu will pop up, but the character in the film will also still kind of interact with you, have some sayings. If there's a naked girl in the woods, she might turn around and say, hurry up and fucking choose, I'm freezing my tits off, or something like that. I've yet to do like a kind of campy, funny movie, except for my short Panty Raid, which will someday hopefully be out on Theater of the Deranged 2. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Stupid username 1234, thank you. It does sound like it's going to be epic, and I hope it is. Lance O'Brien is asking, what's your strategy for distributing Bludgeon? Are you selling DVDs through a website, selling conventions, festivals, etc.? All of the above. Bludgeon is available on DVD and Blu-ray at conceptmediafilms.com, which I will type that in right now. That way everybody knows where to go. And we have other films there. It's nice. But yes, we do several horror conventions throughout the year. We go to the Horror Hounds, Days of the Dead, Fright Night. We're looking to venture out further. Um, so yeah. Next question, Mr. Skeeter Buster. What challenges do you face on the shoot? Oh wow, I don't even know where to begin there. I mean, the general stuff. Something's always going to go wrong. Either an SD card is broken and it's in the locked position. That seems to be a big thing that happens to me. Mainly people showing up on time. But really, I can't bitch because most of my cast that I use are all friends, and they don't ask to get paid for this. So, I can't be like, well, next time you better be here or else you're going to get fired because they're just going to walk off and I'm going to be fucked. Um, yes, let's go to. Okay, that's not necessarily a question. That's cool. Sorry, I'm really bad at this. Um, just bear with me. Uh, here we go. What kind of cameras do you use to shoot? Honestly, I know it's a Sony, and I know that's all that we could afford. When we were making Midsummer Nightmares 1, myself and my business partner saved up about $800, and then we had a friend donate another $1,200. So we got a nice little Sony. It's a HMX something, blah 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 blah. It does 1080. I like it. I feel for what we're doing at the moment, I think it's okay. I would personally, I would really like to try out um, the Black Magic cameras now that they have two. Um, but the geek in me really uh, would love a Red Epic. I don't want to say the geek in me, the fucking like people that use a Red Epic. It's like, oh wow, God, I could fucking do that or something. Even if I could do something half the quality of a Red Epic, you're still doing pretty good. So, yeah. Let's see. Landfill Brian, we used that same camera. That's what we shot Bludgeon with. Though Bludgeon did have a couple shots in the beginning at the pizza parlor where we actually used my Nikon D5000. Um, we had very limited time in that pizza parlor, so I said fuck it, and we used both. Um, Stupid username 1234. First off, I love your username. Um, is it hard to find local areas to shoot at? Well, be it that I live in a podunk town that's called Brookville, Ohio. Yes, I mean there's like a main strip, and that's Brookville. That's about it. Um, I have to say the one thing that I dislike about most of the films that I've done is that they're normally inside of a house or in a car. My first actual film, The Sleeping Soul, um, was actually shot in the apartment that I live in now, and I thought it was good for what it was, but it still wasn't like I wasn't thrilled with the overall. I don't really know what I'm trying to say anymore. Um, it just had low production value, and I feel that myself and my company are slowly growing with production value and getting locations. Like at first, like a lot of people in this town were like, "Oh God, they're just gonna start trouble here. They're making horror movies and all that kind of shit." So my town definitely is not supportive of it. Well, until Bludgeon came out, which I'll hold this up. You know, front page news right there. That was nice. Um, but granted, that newspaper just got bought out by another company, so it wasn't really the town's decision. Um, let's see. But yes, in general, it's always hard to find locations or even cast in my area. My dad, God bless him, um, The Way the Buffalo, that was shot in and outside his house. And it was actually shot while he was sleeping in the house. Because when you go in, it's like you see the kitchen, and Scotty zooms out to like the dog out back. Well, off to the left there's another room, and he was passed out on the couch watching TV. Um, so when she started screaming, he woke up. But luckily enough, he looked outside and saw my car, and he was like, "Oh, well, he's doing something." Um, so yeah, what did people think about The Way of the Buffalo? Because at the moment, I don't really have any questions. I don't believe I'm trying to multitask. Oh, maybe I do. Oh yeah, I do. Oh wow. Um, wait until Brian. Yes, everybody would like a red F. As far as lights, I can tell you that I know how much they cost. Well, actually, no, I've never actually used like lights on a set. We've recently just gotten a like lighting kit. As far as bludgeon goes, we had two flashlights. Well, like them click button lights that you can just stick places, and then we had a Coleman like fluorescent lantern in the center of the console for the driving seat. As far as everything else, that was all just natural light, luck of the draw. Um, the school in the beginning of Bludgeon, we literally, it was me, Haley, and the girl that is in that scene, Ashley Rice. We just drove to a couple different cities close to Brookville and looked for the school that had the best outside lighting for an entrance um, and went with it. So yeah, as far as lights, we have yet to use lights on a production, but we have them now, so hopefully things get better. Mr. Skeeter Buster, Brookville, how far is that from Cincinnati? I ask because I am from there. From Cincinnati, it's about a 50-minute drive from Cincinnati because we're about 45 minutes away from the Dayton Mall, and the Dayton Mall is about 35 minutes away from Cincinnati, 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, so an hour. Um, yes. To stupid username 1234. Um, yes, I've gotten uh, several weird looks. Um, especially the opening, well, I guess the title sequence in Bludgeon. Um, I found there's a vacant building on the main strip in Brookville. I literally just printed out like 20 flyers, went out, taped them up, and shot them. I didn't really care. A lot of people stopped. I think a lot of people were concerned, um, but nobody actually asked me what was going on. So I just left it up to that. Um, to Bilbo, that says Bilbo Baggins. Okay. Um, I kind of wonder if that's my friend Billy. If not, either way, hello. Um, yes, we were at Fright Night. This, I think you're talking about the Sleeping Soul. The Sleeping Soul was in the official selection of the Fright Night Film Fest of 2012. So, yeah. Um, to Mr. Skeeter Buster. I'm sorry. Every time I see somebody's name, I have to take my finger and like run it under the name to read it. I'm from a very small town. We were not fortunate on education. That's why there's obviously spelling errors in the film and whatnot. But he asks, what scripts are you working on currently? Oh, I've got I I've got several. Um, I don't remember how recent it was, but Stephen King was offering. I caught word that Stephen King was offering up the rights to make his books into a movie for a penny if he liked your script. So I got really into that because um, I'm a fan of reimagining films or I guess remakes, but I'm tired of it at the same time. But I would love to see Silver Bullet remade. So I've got a script for that. I've got a script about a band that goes to a crossroads and sells their souls to be, rich and famous. But it backfires to where anybody that hears their music becomes, um, well, kind of like a nympho zombie, I guess, but not like. It's more like they're just corny fuckers. Um, like I said, I've got a ton of scripts, but it's more of things that I don't think I'd really like touch. They're good ideas, but I'm not 100% into them yet, and most of them aren't actually fun. The broadcaster in the horror has a question, or well, I have less of a question about the way of Buffalo and more uh, about something in both films. Both seem to touch on main characters being a serial killer. Is that based on a fascination with serial killers? And if so, um, were there any that inspired your work? Okay, to answer that, and unfortunately, legally, I cannot state names. Um, Bludgeon is actually inspired by true events that happened here in my hometown. Um, One of the main reasons why I do not go into a lot of details about that is because he was the man spent 30 years in jail and was released about a year and a half ago. I've currently found out that he has been placed back into a correctional facility, um, which helps me sleep at night because I'm a husband, I'm a father, I have two kids, so I kind of think about that stuff more than I really should, I guess. Um, but no, I don't necessarily have a fascination with serial killers, I guess. Well, I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, I didn't necessarily intend for both films to be about serial killers. The Way of the Buffalo is a short that I had written a long time ago. And one of my friends, Corey Thrush, who's the stranded motorist in Bludgeon, um, he had an idea for a film, and it was he kind of took my idea for The Way of the Buffalo and tried to kind of beef it up to possibly make it into a full length film, but be more of a drama, which that film is called A Shameless Revenge. And once again, it is available at conceptmediafilms.com, which I have posted on here. So yeah, the serial killer thing just kind of panned out. I felt as far as money, I mean, and I'm gonna ask a question. I would like to see some responses. How much money do you guys think, or people, sorry, what is this left, think that it costs to actually film Legend or The Way of Buffalo? Either, both. Let me know what you think about that. To dildo, I can't tell if that's daggins or daggins, I'm sorry. My eyes are horrible too, but he says I have a copy of The Sequel right in front of me. It was actually one of the better movies, one of the better of the movies I bought at that convention. You're right, the production quality wasn't great, but the movie overall was good. Thank you. Um, to stupid username 1234. Are you completely satisfied with how it turned out? I'm sorry, I don't know what we were talking about when you asked that question. If you could please reply to which film, I will happily answer that. Um, Stupid username 1234 asks, um, well, let me skip. Oh, sorry. I have to resituate myself. Um, to his previous question, are you completely satisfied with how Bludgeon turned out? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I'll ever be completely satisfied with how a film turns out. Um, I have to say I'm pretty happy with The Way of the Buffalo just because I don't know, like I've got this thing. It's like one thing that really feels me is, or really feels me. The one thing that really scares me is humanity. Basically, it's like if something could really happen, that's gonna, have more of an effect on me than the howling. Yeah, I mean, like I really like real life situations. Um, I am pleased with the way Bludgeon turned out. It was actually a bit longer than what the final cut ended up being, but I had to cut certain things because one thing or another didn't pan out. I mean, so yeah, it was tough. Um, I saw somebody post a comment earlier while the movie was filming about laying or being strapped to the wood table in the garage. Haley did not like that because we went out there for 3 days It was 3 different days, and I bet you she laid on that table for a total of, I'm gonna say, 12 hours. And this was shot in uh, that part was shot in February, so it was cold. It was cold, and that's why the heating blanket is. We actually just worked that into what was going on. That way we could try to keep her warm. So yeah, to stupid username 1234. Every time I read that, I'm smiling inside. Um, I heard you used to be in a band. You get like, would you get some of your old pals together for that film where they sell their souls or what? What's funny is that the last band, the last touring band I was in, that was actually meant to be one of our music videos. So, yes, I had planned for that band to be the band, but um, things didn't work out. So, you know, okay, back to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Back to I asked a question earlier of how much uh, do people think that it costs to make Bludgeon? Um, oh, wow, that's a ridiculous amount. $10,000. Oh my god. Stupid username posts at least a little over a grand. Um, Zanman2K posts $9,000 to $10,000. Um, Dodo Baggins, I would say Bludgeon costs $8,450. Um, and Indie horror states $1. Indie horror is the closest. Indie horror is the closest. Um, as far as physical cost, we already own the camera, we already own the SD card. Um, so as far as like what a normal production company would pay for would be cast, um, crew, uh, special effects, you know, fake blood, all that kind of stuff. Um, total, after all is said and done, um, to physically just film and edit to have a final product of Bludgeon, $450. Um, and that's just because I had an amazing cast that literally everybody that I auditioned for Bludgeon sat down in front of me. Like I just wanted them to take a couple minutes and look over the script. I mean, granted, the script was only 40 pages, so um, everybody who auditioned actually sat down and read the entire script right there in front of me, which was awesome. But yes, $450 to physically make it, and then we had another, we'll say 350 into DVDs and Blu-rays, and at the March Horror Hound, we completely sold out of everything. So I guess if you look at it as I don't know, like a movie that gets released in theaters, they base it on whether or not it's a flop opening weekend. Well, that was opening weekend for us, so it wasn't a flop at that point. Um, so yeah, the broadcaster in horror asks, oh no, never mind. He was throwing out a guess as well. Um, yeah, I've heard the same thing. A couple of my friends went to Motor City Nightmares, and they were actually talking to me about that, and I don't know, like the Sleeping Soul. I mean, granted, the Sleeping Soul is. I think there's a total of four people in that entire film, but that I mean that was literally shot in my apartment. We had to pay Aisha, who is the I mean the girl on the cover. She's the lead actress. Um, she's also my ex-wife. I had to pay her $250. That way she'd do the nudity. Um, I just got a text from Scott Gillespie, and he says, "I see you, you beautiful bastard." So it's good to know Scotty's watching. um, so yes, it is very possible to make a movie for under. I mean, I guess I'm I'm better at no budget filmmaking. I feel my partner in concept media, Ryan Stacy, his film, he has a cast of like 15 people, to where the budget just to pay the cast is at least 2 grand. Um, I guess that's just not my cup of tea. Um, I think I can't say, well, I'll never do more than like 8 people in a film, but I can't say that because I'd probably be lying. But I mean, there are some great independent films out there that were shot for way under $5,000. Shit, if I had $1,000 to invest into a film, honestly, to me, that's like, oh, I mean, considering what my films thus far have cost me to make, so that would be almost like doubling my budget. Um, oh, this is going to be a good one. Bildo Baggins asks, if you had a $10 million budget, would you have any idea how to even spend that money? I wouldn't have a clue. No, I would have a clue. I would have a clue. Um, actually it's funny because me and my business partner Ryan Stacy talked about this the other day about winning the lottery, and it's like, what if we had $1 million? And I looked at him and I said, if we had $1 million, we would have like 4 Red Epic packages. Um, I would have 3 IMAX or IMAX uh, for each camera, um, and then we'd still be able to make like probably 10 films off of the rest of the $1 million. So $10 million, um, advertise, advertise. That's what I do with $10 million. Advertise. um, no more questions. Come on, you got a question. Somebody's got to have a question because you don't want me to just start talking about like my life and all that kind of stuff. You need to ask me a question. Oh, there's one. Um, the broadcaster asks, have you ever had anybody get hurt on the set of any of your films? Technically, and technically not. When we were shooting Midsummer Nightmares, and this is, if we would have known this, you know, the woman did not make it clear to us, but um, she was with a child, very early stages, um, so she may have not even known at that point, but um, her role involved some um, kind of action sequences. And later on, we found out that she lost the baby. It was a very upsetting thing to hear because it almost felt like, oh my God, I'm responsible for that. But we know that, that she didn't even know. And she really doesn't feel that it had anything to do with the film or what she was doing in the film. But still, it still felt like it was, like I had a hand in that. Um, Other than that, nobody's ever been hurt on a set of any of our films. Um, Midsummer Nightmares. There's a scene where the killer like pops over like a bench and is supposed to like strangle this guy with a cord of some sort, and the guy actually like pulled him over and ended up punching him in the face at the same time. Um, so that happened. But as far as like hurt, no, we've been lucky. To stupid username 1 2 3 4. What did your wife think about you shooting your ex-wife in the? It's funny thing because my wife is one of the most awesome human beings on this planet. She looked at me because before I got into filmmaking, I was a photographer, got a degree and everything. Um, but I was, just starting out. I wanted to build a portfolio, and honestly, it was one of those things. It's like, portfolios have needs in it. I don't have any money. My ex-wife is stupid. So, I asked my wife, I've got her willing to do it, and I need to build my portfolio. So, it's funny. My wife, Mary, and my ex, Aisha, um, like when we were shooting The Sleeping Soul and everything, they were friends. I mean, they had no reason to butt heads. Um, I got when I married her a long ass time ago. It was for stupid reasons, mainly because I was drunk. Versus my wife. I love her. Um, but yes, my wife. You know, she knows better. She knows that I wouldn't do anything. I would never want to lose her or my kids. So she knew better. She can trust me. Um, yeah. Something about the Sleeping Soul is actually we just released it on Blu-ray, and what a lot of people don't know about the Sleeping Soul is that it was actually filmed twice with different casts, um, different locations, different outcomes for the most part. Um, so yeah, you should check that out as well. Here we go. We have uh, two questions from the broadcaster, Andy Horror. Two questions I ask everyone. One, have you watched any good indie horror films this year, and what were your favorites? We'll go with that one first. Um, I'm a big fan of Dustin Mills. Um, I met him at the very first convention my company went to, and from there on out, I was like our booths were like right behind one another, and like I picked up a Puppet Monster Massacre. Fell in love with that movie. Like to me, the Puppet Monster Massacre was like when the Blair Witch was released. It was something that hadn't really been done before or been made public. It's like, and also growing up, it's like the Muppets and Sesame Street and all that jazz were a big part of my life. So seeing this was like, oh my god, are you serious? Um, so yeah, Dustin Mills, great guy. I love him to death. I love him to death. You wanna? Okay, this is gonna go a bit far, and I promise you, you don't have to cut your feeds because there will be no actual nudity. But I've got a tattoo of the Puppet Monster Massacre right there. That's that's how I feel about that movie. That movie is Oh, yeah. To the second part of that question, um, if you had any advice for first-time filmmakers that were just starting out, what would your advice be to give them? Um, know your camera. Know your camera. Um, if you feel somebody's being shady, don't work with them. I mean, those are the two biggest ones that I learned from. Um, I've been told several times, and I do agree with this, even though I do not practice it. Lighting is key. No matter what kind of camera you're using, as long as you have decent lighting, you can make a decent independent film. Um, so yeah, that would be my advice. Um, Man 2K asks, have you ever thought about making a movie about something you're terrified of to face the fear? No, but I may now. um, I don't know. I guess arachnophobia could be remade um, because it's pretty much spiders and reality that scare me, and bees. Don't like bees. The noise they make, it bugs me. No pun intended. Um, so yeah. For those of you who I think I may be lost. Um, no, I'm not. I'm just not reading it right. So yes. If does anybody have any other questions? I would love to answer any other questions. Um, yeah, here's one from the broadcaster Indie Horror. Were all the bands on Bludgeon friends of yours? I'm um, the last two songs in the film, to where when Joanna's burying Quinn and when she's reading her scrapbook, that's a band called The Way of, not The Way, The Year of the Buffalo. They are actually from Brookville, Ohio. They are a pretty kick-ass fucking band, and I support them wholeheartedly. Yeah. Um, right after the pizza parlor scene where Haley is going to deliver a pizza, that is a band called The Flips. They also do a song in the scene where Joanna enters her apartment and like finds Haley's ID after raveling or going through all her shit. Which, thinking back about that scene, I wish I would have made that. It would have been Quinn's apartment instead of Joanna's to possibly try to give it that extra creepy vibe, but I just didn't. Just didn't. And then the song that plays during the pizza parlor is a band called Epistone. They're from Dayton. Pretty much, I found these people through playing with other bands and all that jazz. So, yep. And I was also in Bludgeon. Nobody's talked about that. I was the sheriff, which this sheriff has been in several films. That's Sheriff Babcock. That's me. Um, so yeah, here we go. We have one from Set 89. If you could remake one movie and add your own touch to it, what would it be? That is a tough question. That's like asking, oh, and I'm sorry for this, but what's your favorite scary movie? Um, but I think I could safely say I would choose Silver Bullet. I've always been a big fan of that movie. Um, so yeah, that would be my choice at the moment. Stupid username 1234 asks, you said that you have kids. Would you have them play parts in any of your films as they get older? Actually, my oldest boy, Connor, is in The Sleeping Soul at the end. Both kids were gonna be in Bludgeon, but due to scheduling and we were running so close on, like, running out of time, um, when Haley's driving to deliver the pizza, she gets a call from a friend. Um, there was actually supposed to be a scene there to where one of her friends was babysitting two kids. That way I could, you know, have my kids in like all my movies. But it didn't work out that way. So I could probably lower this. So I'm looking at the screen and it's like indie horror TV directors chat is like damn near covering my mouth, but thankfully there's audio. Um, so yeah, it looks like we have maybe 5 minutes left, possibly, if my clock is correct. So smoke 'em if you got 'em. Yeah, 4 minutes. 4 minutes left. I do not endorse smoking, but I'm addicted. So sorry, smoking is very bad for you, or at least that's what my doctor tells me. Okay, so yeah. Did anybody any questions, comments, something you hated about one of the films? Here we go. Stupid username 1234 asks, when do you think Midsummer Nightmares 2 will be out? Our goal at the moment is Christmas. That's our first goal. Granted, um, the first Midsummer Nightmares, we had a lot of technical problems end up happening with that movie. We want to take our time with this as far as post production and make sure that, it comes out strong. That's uh, that's the goal. So it's like we'll be finished filming that on September 5th, but then it's like September 6th we have a Horror Hound weekend that we're going to, I believe in Indianapolis. So we normally take a couple, at least 2 weeks off after filming um, something. So we're hoping December, but I don't want to rush anything because putting music to a movie, that's like, as far as post production, that's a nightmare because you have to convey how, or at least to me, it's like the music sets the tone for how you want the viewer to feel about what's going on. So yeah, Indie Horror asks, who is the broadcaster? Has Bludgeon been shown at a lot of festivals, and how has the reception been? Sorry. At the moment, it hasn't been shown in any festivals. Um, since Bludgeon was finished in March, we missed quite a few, but we're waiting to hear back from some that are coming up, like Fright Night Film Fest. We should know in about 8 days whether we got into Fright Night Film Fest. We've sent out to some other film festivals as well. Uh, one of the main ones being, I believe it's Mile High in Colorado, because Haley, the producer of Bludgeon, is from Colorado. Um, but from like sales of the film, people tend to contact us via Facebook, and a lot of people were pissed off because I guess it looks kind of like a 80s slasher as far as the cover art goes and whatnot. Um, I shouldn't say they were pissed off because in the end they were like, we really liked it, we were surprised. But I think it was kind of misleading. I'm sorry about that. I didn't look at it that way. I just, yeah. So, yeah. thank you for your time. I think it's oh no, it's not. Sorry. um. So yeah, thank you for your time. Sorry. I'm hopefully one day I'll get to come back and do this again. It's been really awesome. Find me on Facebook. We're there. Go to conceptmediafilms.com. If you want to support an independent film, check out the Midsummer Nightmares 2 Indiegogo page, which I will paste a link right here. And yeah, thank you all. This has been awesome. Peace.